Hydrangeas have been a traditional part of landscapes for decades and maybe part of yours as well. There's some old-fashioned favorites and lots of new varieties. Easy care, low maintenance, that is until they don't bloom for you as expected. So here are a few tips to help you keep your hydrangeas looking best and providing lots of blossoms. The traditional favorite for many are the Annabelle or smooth type hydrangeas. They are hardy, they flower on the current season growth, so that makes them a reliable bloomer. They'll tolerate part shade. Too much shade for any plant may limit the flowering. To get the best growth habit, proper pruning is important. So in late spring, before growth begins, cut the plants back to about 15 inches. Then take half of those stems back to ground level. That will encourage new growth at the base. The older stems will help provide support, so you'll have flowers on sturdier stems. Great way to show off your hydrangea that you plant with hostas and other shade-tolerant plants. Another reliable hardy bloomer is the PANICLE hydrangea. We're seeing lots of varieties in multiple sizes with those big cone-shaped flowers. These need minimal pruning to really look their best. Like the Annabelle type hydrangeas, they flower on new growth. So if you do need to do any pruning at all, do it at the end of the winter and make it somewhat less severe than others because you don't want to encourage floppy growth. Minimal pruning, end of the season, and only if needed. If your PANICLE hydrangea is not blooming, it could be too young. Young flowering shrubs of any type spend the first couple years putting their energy to developing a robust root system. That's what we want for the longevity of the plant, but as gardeners, we want the blossoms as soon as possible. So after 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, you'll start getting loads of blooms because that plant will have a good, robust root system. Minimal pruning, full sun to part shade, you should have great looking flowers. Probably the one that causes a lot of frustration are the big leaf type hydrangeas like you see here. The pink and blue flowers, pink in alkaline soil, blue in more acidic soil. Beautiful plants down in the southern part of the U.S. These typically bloom on old growth, the older varieties. So here in our climate, they die back to ground level, or maybe you've pruned them off right to the ground. The problem is you removed all that growth that's going to flower. Fortunately, we have reblooming hydrangeas, some better than others at reblooming, and those are ones you'll find here at Pasquesi. So the reblooming hydrangeas may survive the winter. If they do, prune off any dead growth, see if any of the old wood grows and flowers. Fortunately, even if it dies to the ground or you prune it back to the ground, that new growth will flower. Encourage blossoms with keeping the soil moist spring through summer, and then applying fertilizer in the spring. One application works well. An organic fertilizer, something like a Milorganite that has non-leaching phosphorus, and research found as the microorganisms worked on releasing the nutrients from the pellets, it released some of the phosphorus, good for flowering, that was tied up in the soil, making it available for the plants. That will help boost those blossoms. So check those out. The reblooming hydrangeas are great for us northern gardeners. One of my favorite is the oakleaf hydrangea. Take a look at those leaves. They look like oak leaves, thus the common name. In the fall, they turn a brilliant maroon, burgundy, maybe even shades of red and yellow mixed in. So great end of the season. Like the big leaf type hydrangeas, they flower on old wood. So minimal pruning is needed for the plant to look its best, but also for the maximum bloom time. When the leaves drop, you have orange exfoliating bark, so that's a nice added interest, and the leaves look great all summer. So with a little proper siting, the amount of sunlight mentioned on the tag, always check that and ask the team here at Pasquesi, site your plant correctly, give it the right care, and you'll be rewarded with blossoms for years to come.